currently, Minswap DEX has the dominance with total TVL, which is total value locked up in the Cardano ecosystem. Okay, so DeFi is beginning, decentralized finance is beginning to build some momentum, to build some strength within the Cardano ecosystem. And as it sits today, Minswap has the dominance, okay? And you can see we're in DeFi Llama, a fantastic resource for lots of information as it relates to active users, total value locked up, fees generated, revenue coming through, staking. DeFi Llama is known in the space for being a fantastic data aggregator, not just for Cardano, but everywhere. I mean, any project you want to look up, any blockchain. I have it into Cardano's blockchain. And you can see here the TVL, Minswap at number 1. It's a DEX, it's got the category, talks about the day chain, 7-day, 1 minute. Okay, 50 million total value lockup. You got Indigo coming at number 2, Wing Riders, Jed, World Mobile, Liquid, coming down the ranks. Okay, I'm just trying to let you know that Minswap is number 1, and they are doing some really fantastic work. It was one of the first DEXs to release itself into the Cardano ecosystem. It's where I began to pick up some tokens that weren't available anywhere else, and they have been doing fantastic stuff ever since. I've done a couple of videos on Minswap in the past, and I'm here to talk about a specific feature that I get questions about, the Zap feature as it relates to providing liquidity. So what is this Zap feature? Is it serious? Does this Zap feature even work? We're gonna take a quick look at what the Zap feature is. I'm gonna do a little Zap in real time so that you can look at how it actually works and feel it work in real time. Okay, so if you're deciding on the Zap feature and you're nervous about it, or you don't even know that Minswap has a Zap feature in their decentralized exchange. So what is a Zap feature? When we are participating in Minswap DEX, one of the ways we can participate is to provide liquidity, okay? Minswap relies on liquidity providers to add liquidity to their pools so that others can come in, traders can come in and invest and buy and sell cryptocurrency assets. That is what a decentralized exchange, an automated market maker exchange does. They have people come in with a certain amount of liquidity, and it's a pairing of liquidity. And in my Wi-Fi video, you can look at me actually providing liquidity on Minswap. It's actually funny, I'm doing a Wi-Fi video, but I'm using Minswap as an example, and then I just kind of off the top of my head went in real time and provided liquidity to demonstrate how that actually works, where you're taking a 50-50 collateral. You're taking 50% of an asset and another 50% of an asset together and providing those assets into a liquidity pool, into a position. Okay, so ADA min, the example I use in the Wi-Fi video, and I go ahead and I suggest that you check out the Wi-Fi video because not only is Wi-Fi something to pay attention to, in my opinion, it gives you a real life demonstration of how this works. And I'm not doing that in this video. What I'm going to do in this video is give you a real live demonstration of how the Zap feature works. To quickly summarize what I performed in the Wi-Fi video, is that let's say you have $1,000 that you are willing to invest and provide as liquidity in a decentralized exchange. And you want to provide liquidity in, let's say, the ADA and Min pair. You're going to trade that $1,000 into ADA, and you're going to get a specific amount of ADA. And let's just say ADA is at $1 per ADA. So you're going to get 1,000 ADA. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come on to Minswap. You're going to trade $500 of that ADA value, and you're going to buy Minswap. You're going to have equal parts, right? You're going to have $500 worth of ADA and $500 worth of Minswap. And then with both of those assets that equal each other, in value, not in token. You might have 500 ADA now, and if Minswap is at 3 or 4 cents, you're going to have 10,000 or something min. So 500 ADA and 10,000 min at this current price structure equals $500 each. So it's $1,000 collectively, and you're going to now deposit that liquidity into your position. That's how liquidity providing works. And then as I demonstrate in the Wi-Fi video, you're going to then get liquidity provider tokens and be able to lock them up into a farm and all of that good stuff. And so what is the Zap feature then? So in this example that I just said, where you have $1,000 and you buy ADA, or let's say you just have $1,000 worth of ADA, or you participated in a World Mobile Token ISPO and you got airdropped a certain amount of World Mobile tokens to your wallet. And all you own is World Mobile tokens. You don't own any ADA. The Zap feature works if you only have one side of the asset. In this example, to show you in real time, we're going to act as if we only had Minswap. So we don't have any ADA in this example. We just have Minswap. So it works together for that person who only has one side of the pair. It also works if you have both sides of the pair, but you're only willing to give up one pair. And so it's an extremely powerful feature that is exciting. And in the Cardano ecosystem, Minswap is the only one that has this feature. Now, Wi-Fi will implement that feature. I don't think Minswap created or invented the feature. I think it was invented previously. I'm not remembering who pioneered that, but Minswap's the first one to take advantage of it as far as I know, where you can provide one pair, one asset of the pair. And so it's extremely valuable, because if I did have $1,000 and I did purchase ADA, why would I now have to then swap for min at a 50-50 ratio and do that math and do that work myself? The Zap feature is going to do that work for you and also save you a transaction fee. Because if I exchange my $1,000 and I buy ADA, I paid a transaction fee. Okay, now if I buy Minswap, $500 worth of Minswap, and I'm going to pay a transaction fee for that. And then when I provide the liquidity, I'm going to pay a transaction fee. So this also saves you on a transaction fee. Now the transaction fees are very small, but when we're providing liquidity with like a few $100s here or there, it is a significant amount and can add up. It is also just convenient, and convenience has a value, all right? We like things that are convenient for us, and this is an extremely convenient feature. So let's see how this works in real time. So we're on the Minswap DEX, okay? We've connected our wallet. Okay, you can see I have the ADA handle here. We connected our wallet. We're at the overview. This is a list of where all the pools are. Gives you their TVL, and this is an ADA, right? This is the like the $ for ADA right now at current time. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to liquidity. Okay, so you can see your liquidity, and let's go see our liquidity. So here are my liquidity positions. These are the farms that I'm in. Okay, and so we're going to pay attention to the ADA min LP position that I have, the liquidity providing position. We're going to drop this down because we're going to compare what's going to go on here. We're going to compare, we're going to remember what this looks like now. We're going to zap in, and then we're going to see how this looks, okay? See how this changes. So right now, here are my liquidity provider tokens as it relates to this pool. These tokens are sent to your wallet, your NAMI or Giro or your Lace or whatever you're connected to. In this case, it's NAMI for me on the Minswap. And when you provide liquidity, you get these liquidity provider tokens in your wallet, and then you stake those liquidity tokens back into the farm. And for that stake, they come back out of your wallet and come in here, and now you're yield farming. Okay, so you're not just providing liquidity, gaining fees on all the swaps. You're now gaining yield in these farms. So in some cases, you're getting Minswap, ADA, and another, like for instance, Clay. In this one, you're getting ADA, Clay, and Minswap. It's powerful. Minswap is a very powerful DEX, like I just showed you. That's why I started out with DeFi Llama, is that they are the #1 dominant DEX at this very moment. So they're doing good things and people are using them. Maybe you should look into Minswap, check out their white paper, look at their team, join their Discord. That's how I get all my information. Okay, so here is my current liquidity provider tokens. You're going to see this number is going to change. Okay, here's how much ADA I have pulled. And this is the equivalent ratio, the 50-50 ratio of how much min equals this much ADA, and vice versa at current price structures. So if ADA's price goes up and min's price stays the same, these numbers will change. Okay, if the same thing happens, if min goes up or min goes down and ADA goes up, or any kind of scenario could happen at any given time. And what's going to happen is these numbers will change because people will be buying and selling in the form of taking advantage of an arbitrage event. And this arbitrage trading stabilizes the equal value of these prices again. So you have to do your research about what impermanent loss is. I'm not recommending in this video that you become a liquidity provider. Okay, it is a long-term vision. It is something that has high risk, and you should do your research. However, if you're willing to invest in something that you don't really want or need right this very second, and you have a longer-term vision, impermanent loss doesn't bother me because I know that these numbers are going to fluctuate. However, I believe in both of these projects, and I'm okay to get more min and less ADA, and vice versa. The reason for this video is to execute the Zap feature awareness for you, okay? Because it's a powerful feature, and it's how you can kind of get started if you're only have one asset of the pool. You can get into the game of providing liquidity at a lower entry point that's comfortable for you. So you don't have to bet the farm, or you're not into providing liquidity. I'm not into providing liquidity really to gain these financial gains. I'm providing liquidity because I want to support Minswap. I believe in Minswap. I'm happy about their product, and I'm passionate towards the team, towards the protocol, the Cardano ecosystem at large, and to me, it's an act of support. Okay, so this is a position I've had since day one of their DEX. Okay, so it's been over a year that I've been in many of these positions. Long-term mindset. Now, we have 108,821,286,666 LP tokens. Right, we're going to see that number changing. There's 32,497 ADA paired against 371,729 Minswap. Okay, again, this is my staked LPs, my liquidity provider tokens, LPTs, and this is the pool share. You're also going to see that this is going to change. So right now, I currently own 0.1015% of the Minswap pool. All right, so now let's check out the Zap feature. Before we go into that, let's go into the farm. So here are the farms that we are a part of. We got the ADA Min, AGIX, okay, NTX, and all that. We're going to then harvest this again automatically when we then stake our LP tokens once we perform the Zap. All right. So we have liquidity. You see pools, Zap. We were in my liquidity here, and now we're going to click Zap feature. It's going to ask you what token. We're going to choose Minswap. And so when I harvested earlier, there was 31,000 Minswap. Okay, so I'm going to select Minswap there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit max. And so when I hit max, it's about $1,000 here. So 31,000 min tokens is about $1,000. And it's going to ask me to select the liquidity pool, right? And I'm going to select the ADA min liquidity pool. So we're going to click that pool. And do you see what it just did? It's going to give me liquidity provider tokens for that pool. And then clicking this Zap button, so these liquidity provider tokens are going to go to my wallet, and then we're going to stake them in the farm. Now, this gives you the pool, the price impact. So right now, as I'm talking, normally I just click this because price volatility is constantly happening. So the longer you wait, the more that this ratio can change. So it just tells you about that liquidity provider fee. This is the minimum LP tokens that I'm seeking to receive, batcher fee, and all of that. And what this is going to do, so I'm going to kind of bounce out of this, right? I'm just going to bounce out of this, and we're going to do it again in a second, because I don't want the price volatility to interrupt the order that we're doing, okay? What this is going to do automatically is when I zap this in to 31,000, okay, and I hit the max, it's going to divide this in half and add about 15 or 16 something thousand min, and then that equivalent ratio of ADA for me. So it's going to actually do that for me. So even if you're just providing liquidity like this, like regularly, like adding liquidity, you can just hit this Zap feature also, okay? You can, and it'll take you to that Zap event. Let's just go right to Zap. Let's get out of this, okay? Because I know this can kind of be confusing, and I'm just going to switch to the pool. Then we're going to go to Zap again. So max, not ADA. We're going to do min. We're going to max that up. We're going to do all the min that I just harvested. And then we're going to select the liquidity position, the ADA min LP. Okay, it's going to give us this amount of tokens, and we're going to zap it in. It's going to ask me to sign. It's going to bring my NAMI up. We're going to sign. That's the fee. That ADA that you sign, I think that when you remove your liquidity, what happens is you get some of that back. So it ends up coming back to you. I think you might get like a lot of it back, actually. Like if that was 4, I think you might get 3 or 2.5 or something like this ADA back when you do decide to remove your liquidity. And then the remainder is the fee that goes to the liquidity providers in that pool. So you can see that it's kind of queued up. It also already kind of left here and went to the order book. All right, let's go back to our liquidity so we can kind of double check how this is going to look. So again, it was 30,000 or so min. Now, if you were to add 30,000 to this number, this would push it to like 400,000, wouldn't it? But it's going to cut that number in half. And then it's going to give you the equivalent value of those amount of ADA. So it's going to take 15,000 or so or more min, that 30,000 min, divide that in half, and then the remainder is going to kind of buy that ADA for you and put it right into this pool as equal parts. Okay, so that's what the Zap feature is, and we're going to see that in real time. And because I do that, I'm going to get those 4 billion liquidity provider tokens. And then my position will be up here as just a liquidity provider where my LP tokens will be in my NAMI wallet. And then we're going to submit those. So we're going to stake those liquidity provider tokens back in the farm. And then these numbers are going to change. And this is the Zap feature. Okay, it's actually revolutionary. They don't have the Zap feature at Wing Riders and many other DEXs that are in all of crypto. So it's a wonderful feature, especially if you only have one side of the pairing. I know of some people who do exactly what I'm doing. It's meaning every single time that they harvest their farm, every single time that they harvest, let's go to our farms, they will just zap in the liquidity. So they can just continue to take the rewards from their min and just zap it in without spending any more ADA. And in fact, what it does is it actually gets more ADA for you in a way, right? Really spend some time to wrap your mind around this, because it's not that it's really giving you more ADA. I mean, it is. It's buying that ADA for you. It's cutting that min allocation in half and then buying half of what that other half would be in the form of ADA or in the form of any other pool you might select. And then you now are adding liquidity at 50-50 ratios to that pool. Who knows if that would be a good decision or not, right? Because if the price of Minswap goes to the moon and ADA doesn't go that far, it might have been better just to hold the Minswap in your wallet. So there's always a give and take. There's always it's something that you need to feel comfortable about. And you should think about all this before you get into it extensively, because what happens is then you realize later on that, oh, you shouldn't have done that because Minswap's price can go up, and then an ADA might not because of tokenomics, and you get into it, and then you remove your position. And it might be at a time when impermanent loss is affecting you, where you have less min or more ADA, but you don't want more ADA at this point because you're believing in Minswap, and you're like, darn, if I just would have kept the Minswap in my wallet, I'd have this much more if the price action goes this way or that way. So do your research now and do it extensively and start off small. Okay, remember, if you're doing this, you should be thinking a year is not that long. That is not a long-term mindset. 5 years is more realistic. 5 years is a more realistic time to consider. Okay? So here you can see that the red icon around the order released, that means that this actually went down. And what I like to do is normally I like to refresh the page. Okay, we're going to go back to our liquidity. See how this looks different. These were the liquidity provider tokens that I was promised. Nothing changed down here yet, because all I did was add liquidity in this pool by zapping one asset in. So let's see how this divided the asset for me. Here it is. So, like I said, what was half of that 31,000? 15,735 min. So it divided that for me at the current price right there and gives me, for that amount, 1,375 ADA. So it did that for me. And for that, I get the receipt for that transaction, which is the LP tokens. That kind of acts as your receipt. They're in my NAMI wallet. We're going to look at them in a second. And for this Zap-in feature, I gained an additional 0.0043% of the overall pool. So what we want to do now is we want to put these liquidity provider tokens to work. We want to stake them in this farm, and you're going to see that this number is going to change, all right? This is going to now be I would say 113 billion now, something around there, right? Because this 4 billion is going to be added to that number. And then also, this is going to go up by 1,300, right? By 1,375, that's going to be added to this pool. And then 15,000 is going to be added to the min side. And so the 4 billion, right? Like we're saying it over and over again, is going to be added to this. And then this 0.0043% of the pool share will increase my pool share. Okay, so let's see how this works. Now, did it work? Did these LP tokens come to my wallet? Well, we're going to find out. An LP token, they have a different look. All right, and here they are. This one right here. These are actually LP tokens. I'm only a part of one pool that doesn't have a farm. And so the LP tokens just stay here in my wallet. And if you watch that Wi-Fi video, I kind of explain a little bit why. But these are these LP tokens that we just got, right? It's the same exact amount, 4,606,159,666. And we're going to now stake. So what's going to happen is when we sign and we stake these in, two things are going to happen. The one thing is that these LP tokens are going to be removed out of my wallet and staked into this farm. The second thing that's going to happen is these tokens here that I'm acquiring are going to be harvested and put into my wallet. So watch, this is how it works. So once you have provided liquidity, most people actually then forget to stake those LP tokens and they miss out on the farm. You have to make sure that if you want to farm, then you should stake the tokens. Providing liquidity is the risky thing that you should consider and understand and do a lot of extensive research. Yield farming, however, only really adds to your yield. So it's not like you're creating any more risk by staking your LP tokens. Otherwise, they just sit in the wallet. Not every single pair has a farm. Check this out real quick. That if we go to farm and I hit filter, I hit the staked only. If I release that button, here are all the farms. Let's count them. 1, 2, there's 3 in a row. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, right? 27. Okay, we have 33, 36, 39. And they add some, give or take. I think it started off with like maybe 10 or so. It's been 12 and it's grown. There's 39. There's a lot of pools. These are farming pools, okay? These are pools that you could provide liquidity into and then stake your liquidity provider tokens and gain farming rewards. Not every single pool has that. So if you look over here on Minswap overview, the home page, look at all these pools. Okay, lots of pools. So lots of these pools don't allow you to yield farm. Okay. So that's another thing you should consider. If you're providing liquidity and you just think you can yield farm on any of these pools, you should check, go to the farming page and look at which ones are actually available for you, because that helps from a peace of mind standpoint for most people to mitigate against this impermanent loss, because you're gaining extra rewards. Aside from the LP fees, you're gaining as a part of transaction swaps, okay? Fees from the transaction swaps. These are the pools that we're staking in, right? And so now we're gonna click this stake button. So we want to stake those LP tokens in our wallet. So you click that stake button and we want to say 100%. And so there it is. Those are the pool tokens. These are the new tokens that we want to stake. And so each stake or withdrawal action will automatically harvest your rewards. So those rewards that we saw back there are going to be harvested, moved out of the farm and into my wallet. You're going to need to sign again. Okay, and then there you go. Transaction is moving through, and then we'll take a look and see how these numbers changed. And this is the amount of liquidity locked up in the entire pool. And actually when we do this, this number will change also, because we're adding, okay? We're adding more liquidity and we're adding more to the farm. And when we're doing that, when we're locking up these tokens in these farms, essentially every time we're doing this, we're participating in smart contracts. It gives the tokens a longer history, and that longer history creates a more robust and resilient blockchain in itself. So when we participate like this, we're actually fortifying the DEX in a small way. We're actually making the DEX more resilient. And when you're passing these and you're locking these back and forth and you're going back and forth, it can sound like a lot, and it is. And DEXs are trying to save a few steps and innovate and pioneer different strategies. It adds to the integrity of the DEX. Let's move stuff around. Sometimes I like to just click back and forth and go into maybe the orders. Let's see how that's working out. Okay, that's complete. So that's just taking its time. It has to batch. They all have this batching queue where there's a mechanism behind the scenes doing these actions and removing the liquidity provider tokens from your wallet, putting them in the farm, staking them. And the user experience from my perspective has been fantastic. It really has, especially since the Vassal hard fork upgrade. And if you don't know what that Vassal hard fork is, VASIL, V as in Victor, Vassal hard fork, type that in your search engine. That's a good thing to understand. And it allowed a little bit more streamlining for the protocols on the Cardano network to highlight better action and efficiency. Okay, so I think that went through. I'm going to hit the refresh page and let's look at it. Okay, boom, look at that. That number changed, right? It went to that 113 like we said. And if I go down here, that was harvested. What I love about Minswap is they have a second by second epic system. So every single second you're gaining rewards. And that's what's amazing. That's different than some of the other DEXs. I think ViFi is going to have a daily epic. Okay, Wing Riders has the epic that correlates to Cardano, which is the 5-day epic. Minswap is a second by second, so I could harvest this again if I want to get another min, in 0.01 of NADA. Okay, so this was the Zap feature. Let's go back to our liquidity as we finish up the video. We're going to check our position here. You see how that position was removed because we're now farmed. We added to our liquidity provider tokens. Great, now it's 33,869 and 387,000 min. Okay, it increased our pool share by that 43%, by the 0.0043%, and then we now have more liquidity provider tokens staked. And that is the Zap feature video explanation. Does it work? Yes, it does. How does it work? It takes one of your assets as collateral that you're willing to provide. It divides it in half for you, okay, and then adds you to the pool, gets you into the participatory nature of these decentralized exchanges, and in return you get your liquidity provider tokens. And if you're doing this in a verified farm, you can then stake those liquidity provider tokens that you got that represent both assets of equal value into that pool, and then you'll be right away yield farming in the next instant, like you just saw. Okay, so I hope this gave you a little bit of insight and encouragement into what the Zap feature is. If you didn't know what the Zap feature is, I hope that you know now, understand it correctly, and do your research, right? Never jump into this, never gamble into this, never Hail Mary yourself into this. Do your research. That's what this video is. I hope it's a part of your research. I hope it's a part of your fundamental analysis. Okay, stay strong, stay healthy, and always be prepared. We'll see you in upcoming videos soon.